Welcome back to a new one, and in this one we will take a look into the PULSAR 1178. Now to start off, I gotta be honest, and I'm completely biased by this plugin. I've been using it for a while, never made a video about this one, but this one is one of my favorites in terms of, FET style compressors. And I really think it nails the 1176 or 78.5, and also it throws some extra goodies like some saturation, mid-side processing, and it's, again, really simple to use because everything's super visual if you wanted to make it visual. If you didn't know, this is an emulation of a real compressor released in the 80s. It was essentially a stereo version of an 1176 Rev H. Let's play some drums. This is an 1176 style of compressor. You don't have a threshold. And I'm gonna go maybe here and put the release there. Now, you don't have a threshold. More input will send more and it will compress more. Of course, it will go really, really loud, so you need to go down on the output and compensate from there. That's it. That's how it compresses. Now, something cool that you get in this plugin that you should be getting on every plugin is the input and the output. So you get the usual peak level. You can see it right here. That's the peak. And then you get the RMS level. So when you're compressing, you can compare both versions and try to match the levels. And don't, trick your ears. Also, you get the gain reduction right here. So you can see it is the classic gain reduction, and I'm doing a lot on purpose. Maybe we could do a little bit less. Now, if you didn't know, a FET 1176 is fast, and I mean really fast, and the controls are inverted. That's the default. So 7 is the fastest, and 0 is the slowest. So this is super fast and super slow. And the same thing happens with the release. Super fast and then super slow. In terms of speed, the times, it's 20 microseconds. So yeah, really fast. All the way down to 800 microseconds. It's still, not super slow. It's still pretty fast. That's, the 1176 experience. Now then on the release, you go all the way down from 50 milliseconds down to 1.1 second. And notice it's just pretty slow now. And those are the main controls. You input more, you will be compressing more. And if you want to go down in the output just to control it, you can, go here and just crush it. With any compressor, you get the ratio. And with the 1176 or 78 in this case, you get the buttons right here. You can do 4, 8, 12, 20, and then you can do all. So, you get the classic ratios that you can use. Now, something to notice is that on most hardware compressors, real 1176 or different versions of compressors, when you go up on the ratio, it will change the headroom. This means that when you change the ratio, you will need to go back to the input and the output and adjust the values. Here, you don't need to. If I go to 8, it's more aggressive. If I keep going up, it's more. And then more. So we just don't need to go to the input and output, which is fine. And then you have the all-in button, the classic one. I'm gonna go here to all, and we get the all-in, which means that we can really smash it. Something cool that you get with this one is the mix. So if we are really crushing it and we want to get this parallel compression type of sound, we can go to the mix, just adjust to taste. In addition to the compressor, we have a saturation stage. If I play it back with some different drums, we can go to maybe to tape. And then we will, get saturation. In this case, tape saturation. Now, you need to make sure that you set the calibration trim knob to the correct values, because if you go up, you will be doing a lot. But we can go down and just control this a little bit more. The tape saturation is tape type of saturation, as you can hear. Maybe I'm going to go up so we can really hear. The triode is the tube amplifier, class A type of, saturation. Then we have the warm, and this one focuses more on the mid and high frequencies. Is it? If I go up, it's not being super distracted by the lower frequencies. If I go to tape, notice that the kick is just triggering this saturation, but on warm, we don't get that. So that's why you get the warm. And then you have the clip, which is digital type of saturation. I will go to the tape because I guess it's the one that sounds pretty obvious. And as I go down, I want you to take a look at the saturation, how it compresses. I'm sorry, not saturation, the compression. So if I keep going up, it will affect the saturation stage by a lot. So you need to be careful with this. Still, you can go really up and then just use the mix control. Always remember you do have a mix control. Always useful. Cool. You can use this plugin to compress a stereo signal or mono signal. In this case, we are compressing stereo signal. And we need to talk about this link controls. Notice that if I move the input of the left, it moves the input of the right. But you can decouple the left and the right. And now if I go up on the input, it will feed the left channel. And then we can feed the right independently. Also, when you offset the different controls, maybe I'm going to do something super obvious, and I link it, it's going to remember the position. For now, I'm going to unlink, go back to, defaults by doing control and then click, goes back to the, center, and I'm going to unlink. There's that if I do more input, the output doesn't change. If I hold the shift, and I'm holding the shift, and I move the knob, it will link the input and the output. So if we input more, the output goes down, and if we do less input, the output goes up. Cool. Now there's one more thing with this, which is super useful. Maybe I'm gonna change the output and compress a little bit more. There you go. So now we can really see that we are, doing a lot of compression, and that's fine. So you have different modes within the display. If we go to the M, it's kind of a mix of both the left and the right. But if I click this one, it's going to show me the compression that we are doing on the left side. That's why it's L. But if I click again, it's going to show me the right side. So you can monitor or just see what you're doing on the left or on the right. Now, if I keep clicking, it's going to show you the left and the right. Cool, right? And we have one more. If I click again, it's going to give me this type of display, and it will still show me the left and the right. But now we have colors. So the red, it's the left, and the green is the right. So we can easily see how much we are compressing on the left and on the right. You can, of course, use mid-side type of processing. We are doing left and right. So when we change to mid-side, now we are doing mid-side. And again, the displays are going to be a little bit different. It's a mix, a blend of both. Now we have side, we have mid and side, and then MS2. Just like on any other compressor, you can use this sidechain. And I'm going to play the track. You need to enable the sidechain in order to use it. Notice it now, it's on. And now you can create up to 4 different points. And there we go. So with this one again, we can cut, and maybe I can go here and change the slope. So we can maybe cut the lows, we can boost some of that, and then maybe attenuate the highs. And that's it, that's the sidechain, super, super useful. I'm going to cut the super lows so we affect the compression. If you want to remove the points, of course, you can go here, even change the Q, but you can, delete them and just, start over. If you don't want to do delete, you can just turn it off, but it will stay there. So you can just turn it on back later. One cool thing that we can do with this one is that you can go here to the headphones, and if you click it, it will let you hear what you are doing on the sidechain. So you can just adjust before and then just turn it off and go to the real compressor. If you are learning compression and you don't know what the sidechain is, well, the sidechain will process the audio before going into the compressor. So let me just give you an example. I'm gonna go here. So as we can see, the kick, this frequency, though this part of the frequency spectrum is really triggering the compressor. The kick and the snare, and that's fine. So maybe what we can do, we can cut before going into the compression stage, and we can make it react less to the kick. So what we are doing is just chopping the low frequencies and letting the compressor know that it needs to compress to this signal. And that's, what's going on. It's now listening to the higher frequencies and compressing that. Still, we can, maybe if we wanted to, we can go right here, create a new point, and boost the higher frequencies. So now the compressor will compress listening to the higher frequencies. That's why we use the sidechain. Something super interesting on this plugin is the latency mode. Right now, it's completely off. So what we can do, we can look behind. But when we turn it on, we can look behind and then we can look ahead. If you're learning, let me show you what this is. I'm going to go and just keep it off for now. So what we can do, and this got nothing to do with the latency that you maybe get if you don't use a sound card, something like that. This is just, got nothing to do with that. This is the compressor, just the compressor, not the plugin. So if we look behind, we are telling the compressor to react late to the transients. Right now, it's reacting like this to the transients. And this compressor, being an 1176 style, FET type style of compressor, it will react pretty fast. So what we do, if we look behind, we are making the compressor react late to the transients. And I'm just gonna do a lot so it can be obvious. Notice that right now, every time that we get the kick and the snare, it's compressing super quick. But now, if we look behind, it's a lot more punchy. It's because we are letting some of the transients, the initial transients pass, and it's reacting late. And it's, again, super punchy. Which, it depends on what you want to do. It can be a good thing or a bad thing. Still, remember, you have the mix. We can blend and just attenuate this effect because, maybe this is just way too aggressive. So we can just blend it. So that's the look, the look behind. We make the compressor react late. If I turn it on, then we have the opposite. We have the look ahead. If I go to the other side, that's how it works. And I want you to take a look at the chart right here at the display. When the compressor is ducking the volume, it's just way before the transient. So we are telling the compressor to react before and duck the volume. And we get this, choppy type of effect. Now, I'm doing too much, of course. I could do a little bit less and maybe get a better result. Still, the attack, it's super fast. I could make it slow and just make it react a little bit before. And we are not doing this with the input or the attack. Now the look ahead, it's useful when you have some peaks the compressor is just not able to catch. So you make it faster so it can catch the the peaks. Still, this being an 1176 style of compressor, it's just super fast. So I don't really think that this option, it's kind of a super useful. I guess it's just nice to have. I find the look behind a lot more useful because, you get this punch type of effect and then you can use it. I'm going to turn it off, and to go back to defaults here, you can click or hold the control and then click it. Another thing that I didn't tell you because I forgot is that on the sidechain, you can use an external sidechain. But this is something super common that you get on almost all plugins. Now, the last thing I guess we need to discuss, it's going to be the link and the unlink. And for this, just to show you how this works, I'm going to be compressing somewhere about there. And I'm going to take you to the display. And I'm going to go to the LR2. Remember that we have the left and the right side, the green and the red. And we can see that the compressor, it's just compressing a little bit differently to the left and the right. And that's why we have an unlink. So when we have unlink, both channels are unlinked. The left will compress whatever that happens on the left, and the right will compress what happens on the right. Now, right now, the difference happens when we link the channels. If I link, notice that now it's not different. It's doing the same on left and on the right. So what it's doing, it's linking both channels and compressing the same for both in overall. So this is super useful to keep the stereo image consistent because, if we are doing something super aggressive, let me just go here, the left and the right will be really different. So we are just expanding the stereo image. And sometimes that's not good, depending on what you want to do. If you link it, you make sure that the channels, the left and the right, will compress the same, so you're not affecting the stereo image. That's the point. This is something very common that you get on bus compressors. The other thing that you get is the invert. If I play it back, the invert, it's simple. It will take the left and send it to the right channel, and it will take the right and send it to the left channel. So the compressor on the left, it's compressing the right signal, and the right signal, it's compressing the one on the left. Simple as that. Of course, when we change it to MS, the link and the unlink will work differently. If I link it, notice that it's the same idea, but it's compressing the same for both. And when we work on MS, on mid and side, we want, to maybe unlink and work different values. And again, that's just completely up to you. And alright, to finish, you have the undo and the redo, and then you can save the patches, you can compare A and B, super useful functions, but also you can go to options and you can use different values for real-time oversampling and offline oversampling. Okay, so that's it. Hopefully you liked all of this. And if you liked it and you learned something new, remember to like and subscribe. And if you have the money and you want to buy me a coffee just to say thanks, you can. Go to the links at the description and you have links for PayPal, YouTube Thanks, and Patreon.